Okay guys, as always, welcome to Enlightenment TV. This is video number 3 for today. It's the 11th of April, Sunday, 2021. Whatever day of quarantine. Number 4 or 5. Ugh. So, the day I met Odin. And as I said, this was the first time where I actually could have guessed that dreams foretell the future, sort of. My wife made me aware of it, but I wasn't aware of it. Because, you always need to see it a couple of times until you actually really understand it. So, I had a dream. This was a super crazy dream. Like, you can't imagine, yeah, it was the only one of its kind. The entire dream felt in dream time. It was like 6 hours. Usually dreams feel like way shorter and whatever. But it was like a loop of the same storyline, or that same storyline of 30 seconds was stretched out onto 6 hours, and it was only this storyline all the time. And the storyline basically was, it was like a kind of basement or something. And in that basement, when there's water flowing along walls, and it will create this whitish mineral, and it will create the algen in German, algae, I think in English. So this greenish plant, this water plant, and then you'll have a thin layer of it. So that's kind of how this wall was, and it was like basically almost completely dark, but still you could see it something. So it was it was in the basement, it was super dark, and through this place there were super huge thick cables running through, and there was this switch, the way they show the switch, with this kind of flat iron U, and then there would be a round pin on it, and then they would just like do it, and then the guy would get fried on the electric chair, like that thing, big switch, and super thick cables, and all of this goes through water. So of course nobody gonna touch this thing. And this was the feeling of the dream. It was this setup and the feeling of this dream, and it was stretched out onto like 6 hours, like forever. Only this feeling and this thing. Nothing ever happened, but this feeling. And the feeling was like everyone is just like depressed and fearful, and nobody wants to pull this thing, but kind of someone has to, or whatever. So just like everyone is super depressed and stressed, and like, I mean, who's gonna pull this thing, right? There's water and there's electricity. This is like super crazy. So that was the dream, and it was like the whole night stretched onto 6 hours of dream time. Only this dream. That was the dream. Next day after, I get a call. This was the time when I was selling weed. This was like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever. Yeah, more like 3-4 years ago. So I get a call, a friend slash customer. It's not a friend anymore because he cheated me and whatever. So like how it usually goes with these kind of businesses, people sell you out for $10, and you never see them again, sort of. And it's funny, I saw this guy just before I left, when my last shopping in the shop, and he was working there in the shop. He's like, hi, and then I just passed. So funny. So anyway, this guy calls me. And then I meet him, and then he tells me just like, yo, me and Ben, his friend, who also cheated me, yeah, me and Ben, we have a bet. And this, like, if you know this regular junkie talk, I had this junkie talk back then with my friend too, like when junkies just talk shit and then whatever. And, so yeah, me and Ben, we have a bet going on, just like who we both quit, and like whatever, don't tell him, so they quit 2 3 days ago yesterday, and then of course the next day after he's just buying weed from me. And I shouldn't tell Ben, because then he loses the bet and whatever and whatever, and I was just like, yeah, okay, I just like, so then I made the deal, probably I smoked some weed, and then I went home, I don't remember. So then I kind of went home, and then I straight away knew that this whole dream was referring to this. That's why the pressure in the dream, like the pressure all about nothing, and whatever. But I knew that this referring to this. And then I had an indoor playground installed for my kids. It was a really nice thing, and it had a swing on it, and we used the swing. We had like in Germany called nest swing. So it would be a big circle, and the big circle is a net, so you can put down the baby and you can swing it, and the baby falls asleep easily. And I think my second son was just born. Yeah, that's why, exactly. And I was just about to put him into that swing and bring him to bed. It was already dark, so I go there, and either I took the blanket, or the blanket was I think already there. So I wanted to pick up the blanket and like lift it up and throw it up, so that it just flies, and then it is without any disturbances, but lays nicely flat, because of course, like. And as I touch the blanket, I get a shock of electricity, which was the size of a cherry pit, and made this electricity sound, bzzz, and I could see it like in my right corner of the eye, and because it was completely black, it's just like I could not see, because it's just light appearing out of nowhere and shocking me. It was yellowish light, yellowish golden light, golden electricity. It wasn't golden light, it was golden electricity. That's what you can say. I'm just like going to my wife. Did you just like, you won't believe. She's like, I heard it, and she was super far away. She was like basically on the other side of the apartment, like kids' room, then like a walking room, and then there would be our sleeping room. So she was just with our second son in the sleeping room, or with both kids, I don't remember, whatever. So she heard it. This is how strong the shock was, And I came there with the blanket, and I'm just like, I'm like super afraid and whatever. And then she's like, hey, here, you take the blanket. I give it back. She's like, what? No. Like, shall I get shocked or what? I just like, but like, we were both super scared. But I was like, it's already discharged, no problem. But I'm super scared. She's super scared, like kids. But it was discharged. Nothing ever happened again. It was like this shitty, super plastic blanket, whatever. And then she just like, huh? I must have told her the dream already. And then she just, that's exactly like in your dream yesterday. Which then is also the other, which I figured out way later, after I connected the day to the dream. A week or 2 weeks later, I was the guy to pull the trigger. I was the guy to, because I was the guy who got shocked, right? I figured this like 1.5, 2 weeks later. And then I just talked to my wife, and I told her what happened today, because before that I went, after breakfast, I went with my son, me on my bike, he on his bike. We went to the local farmer, very nice, friendly people, and it was like a good entertaining thing for us to always go there, just as a walk and whatever, because it's like through fields and whatever, and you would like have this nature feeling, and so on and so on. And then on the way back we arrived, because like to my house it's a little bit uphill, and I had this big potato bag to transport on the bike, and I was tired, and I like stopped, and then I just decided to push the bike. And my son is super talkative, and like he never stops. He's like a waterfall. As soon as he starts, bam, 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 bam. So basically, thinking about the apple doesn't the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. So basically, like me. And then the thing was like, we get off the bikes, and then he says, "Shall we talk?" And I'm just like thinking, okay, I know exactly what this means. Once it starts, it never stops. So I'm just like, yeah, okay, let's talk. You count in Russian now. You just follow me. And then I counted till 50. You know, I counted in Russian, and he followed me. Because I didn't want to talk, but I didn't want to disappoint him, because he wanted to talk. You know, so I kind of took this middle path of not being too heavy on my brain, so just counting, so that I don't have to, you know, put any energy into this. And as I am telling my wife about this, and then I count, один, два, три, and then boom, it hits me, один. Один, this is this is the number one in Russian. Один, Odin, you know, Odin in German. And then it hit me, and then I remember just in my head it made the like when the clouds collect and make this thunder, and I've seen like the clouds and the thunder like, and it made thunder in my head, and I'm just like, what? This was like 1 minute after I got shocked by the cherry pit size yellow electricity out of nowhere by touching this blanket in that swing. And this is then 1 minute later, basically this thing came to me. Not 1 minute literally, but within the next 3, 4, 5 minutes. And then I knew Odin. You know, then I knew this is. So as I say, this foretells. So dreams foretell future. I didn't make this conclusion back then, but I could have. And yeah. The other thing, sort of that you understand exactly what I mean, is the way my Muslim friend explained to me. He said, basically, the way you become Muslim is by saying there's only one God and no one besides him. So once you sort of admit or say or whatever, missing the word, that there's only one God, then you're basically already Muslim. You know, that's all it is. And that's why, as I said, the one, Odin, you know, being the first number and number one, and you know, and being the Godfather. This was literally shocking, right? This was literally shocking, because I literally just got shocked, you know. So yeah, that's kind of the way I met Odin. That's why Odin is yellow, is gold, represents gold. Gold, G, old, you know, so the G again represents the 9. If you write it small, the G is the 9. That's why the tree with the 9 worlds. Gold, old. Yeah. They show this in the movie. I'm gonna use this clip. No, I'm just gonna play it at the end of this video.